Hello to the First Baptist Tulsa family and to the Friends of First Baptist. This is our midweek update for July 3rd, 2024, and this is our 321. Three things I want you to know, 2 chapters in the Bible. I would invite you to read along with me. And then one way to pray this coming week. And just a quick programming note, we will have a midweek update next week for July 10th. Then we're going to take 1 week off in the middle of July, and we'll be back the next week with our midweek updates. Okay, so here's the 3 things I want you to know, and I want to put these in some categories. First category is camps. Please look on our announcement sheet. You'll see the exact dates. We have our student ministry camp to Falls Creek coming up at the beginning of July, and our kids camp toward the end of July. Parents, great opportunity for your students to get to know their friends better and to get to know the Lord better. So take advantage of those 2 camps that we have coming up this month. Second thing I want you to know, and this is under the category of back to school. Our back to school events are at the end of July, beginning of August, but between now and then, we are collecting jeans for students, boys and girls. Our Caring Center does a lot of purchasing to prepare us for those back to school events, but this is also an entire church effort together. So at our 5 partner schools, we want to make sure all the students that we can serve will go back to school with a backpack, fresh pair of jeans, all of that. So next time you're shopping at Walmart, Target, wherever you shop, especially if you see a good deal, buy some extra jeans and bring those to the church and drop them into the blue bins for our back to school effort. And then the third thing I want you to know, I'm going to put under the category of just a friendly reminder. Remember, we're focusing on Jesus. Remember that we're following Jesus. Remember that we are being formed to become like Jesus. In all the distractions and all the divisions that are going on in our world, let's stay purposeful about who we are as Christians in this day and this time. Okay, so that's the 3 things I want you to know, 2 chapters in the Bible to read, and we're going to finish up the book of Acts next week. I'm inviting you. If you have a reading plan of your own, please continue on that. If you don't, consider joining me in reading 2 chapters of the scripture. So for this week, it's going to be Acts 25 and 26. Next week, we'll do 27 and 28. So we'll finish up the book of Acts. We'll take that week off for the midweek update, and we'll be back with another book of the Bible after that. But I want you to pay attention in Acts 25 and 26, just a couple of things to look for. Now remember, Paul is in trouble for something that happened in Jerusalem. It really wasn't his fault. And there's a whole lot of controversy around him. There's a lot of delay in his court proceedings, so much so that the proconsul in charge of his trial changes. At the end of chapter 24, it's Felix. Well, he goes out of office. And then at the beginning of chapter 26, here's Festus, who's the new proconsul in the area. Yes, I can't help but flash back to Gunsmoke sometimes every time I hear that name Festus. But I want you to notice what Paul does. And here, in amidst the storyline, is really the point I want you to grasp and grapple with. Paul is given an opportunity. Now, it's not an opportunity that he wanted. He didn't want to be on trial. But it's an opportunity. It gave him the opportunity to be obedient. And then Paul was trusting God with the outcome. And I've often talked about those 3 words being a template for everything you're going to experience in life. Sometimes things look like opportunities. Sometimes they don't feel like opportunities, but they are. There's going to be an outcome from that opportunity. What do we control? We don't control the opportunities. We don't control the outcome. All we can do is control our level of obedience in the middle of all these things. And that's exactly what Paul does. And here, in a trial he didn't want to be involved in, not knowing where it was going to end up, he shares his faith and his story for the 3rd time in the book of Acts. In the book of Acts, chapter 9, chapter 22, and chapter 26, Paul shares that Damascus Road experience that he had with Jesus. And so here in the middle of this opportunity that he didn't want and not knowing what the outcome would be, Paul practices obedience by the sharing of his faith. And so I want you to think about that as we deal in life with situations that we don't want or necessarily plan. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. But we are called to be obedient no matter what. So I invite you to read chapter 25 and 26 of the book of Acts, and we'll finish up that book next week. So here's the one way I would invite you to pray. We are continuing in our teaching series on Sunday morning on the essentials. And the text for this next Sunday will be Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. I would encourage you just to read through this, make these verses a prayer. Therefore, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. How do we do that? Well, we focus on Jesus, we follow Jesus, and we become formed to become like him so that we will know God's good, perfect, pleasing will. Love you, love serving as your pastor. The Lord bless you, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.